Good morning. I'm here with my trusty skeleton stand talking about wrists and shoulders. And the one thing I really want to bring to light is that the wrist is the bottom of the kinetic chain, which begins up here at the shoulder. So when people have some wrist and even elbow issues, you can see skeletally how that can connect up into the shoulder blade. And often I find people's shoulder blades can be quite sticky when they also have wrist and elbow issues. Now, which came first, the chicken or the egg? We have no idea. What I do know is that when I can help unstick a blade, when I can help improve how a blade moves on the rib cage and how the spine functions and how the whole kinetic chain works, the wrist and the elbow stuff starts to fade away. So we're going to be playing around a little bit with a very short sequence on how you can explore the relationship between your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder blade, and that rib cage, discover some compensatory patterning, some breath patterning perhaps, and let's see if we can help you out and have a better day today. All right, so let me put stand back on a stand, and I'll come back for a little bit of work. Okay, so we're going to begin with a block. Now, I've got two blocks here, right here. And we're going to take the fingers. Let me actually come back up to the camera. We're going to take the fingers, and we're going to start with the fingers like this. And we're going to bring the fingers onto the block so that the knuckles are right up to the edge. And then I'm going to move my hands like this. Now, we're playing around with how the knuckles are moving, how the fingers and the hand are moving. What happens sometimes is people will do this, right? Or they'll do something funny with the arm. Really try to make the movement about that, okay? So now, if I come back here, you won't be able to see me as well, but you'll get a sense of it. So I'm here, index finger and thumb tip touch, knuckles right in, and then start to move those hands. So it's like you're doing this action. Now be gentle on yourself. Watch that this isn't happening. It's just the movement through those fingers. The knuckles are right up to the block. Okay. Now we're going to take middle finger to thumb. Same thing. And then give that a go. And don't be surprised if this is really limited, especially if you spend a good deal of time, whether it's in the garden or whether it's at your computer. Okay, next one. So now you're at ring finger, the fourth finger. And just notice where and how this is interesting for you, right? What are you curious about as you're doing it? Is it more difficult to tap your fourth finger, for example, than your middle finger or your index finger? Notice what movement is easier. Notice when your hands are on the block, what feels a little bit more, I don't know, stiff or limited or free. Notice what's available there. A lot of people can become resigned to the way that their bodies are and the way that they're moving. That it's just the way it is. They're a certain age or they've got a certain number of injuries. When the reality is a lot can change, right? A lot can change. There's lots of plasticity in our system. When I first started my career, we're going to move these blocks away. When I first started my career, I was in my 20s and everybody was older than me. And many of them were being told, it took you this long to get into pain. It's going to take you that long to get out of it. If that was true, I would never have the practice I had because everybody was older than me. Everybody. It would have taken a long time to help people get better. Okay, so now we're going to place the arms on the floor like this, and we're just going to rotate. It's more like a supination, pronation, but we're going to do it on the floor. So it's going to look like this. I'm going to show it this way. So it's like this. And come a bit closer for you. Let me back up a bit. So your hands, you're going to rotate this way and then this way. So this is supination, pronation. Supination, pronation. So it's just the forearm coming over and rotating towards the floor, away from the floor. Towards the floor, away from the floor. And just get a feel of what that's like. And you can be with your bum on your heels. And if you have some trouble getting down to the floor with your bum on your heels, you can always do it like this. Or some version, right? You can do this at a table. You can do this here. You can do this sitting in a chair on the table. So wherever you have the capability. So we're going to play around with this a little bit. And just notice how far you're able to pronate and supinate. All right, lovely. Okay, now from here, let's grab a strap. And elbows are going to be bent, and bring the arms over your head and then circle those arms around. Now, I like to keep the elbows bent initially, particularly if there's some elbow and wrist stuff, because often that whole chain is a little bit limited. Okay, and then the other way. And then just watch that. If this is happening, we'll see how my ribs are moving. I'm exaggerating it, but don't try and like hold the ribs hard. Just bring the arms up and only move as far as those ribs don't move. Okay, good. All right, now we're gonna leave that to the side. Okay, now over a beach ball here. And just get a feel of what your side ribs, how they are moving, what they feel like. Notice if you want to crawl those shoulders up. There might be a desire just to pull them back down again. What I would do is just come out and then back in again, because what's happening is as you move, there might be something limited here, and then you are letting those shoulder blades crawl up. So can you just move in the range where that doesn't happen? This will really help you begin to see where things are sticky or a little bit stuck. Okay, good. And then let's go the other way. And allow, if you can, the breath to come into the side ribs and then come on up. Okay, good. Now from here, we're going to take what I've got is the spinal strip. So the spinal strip is a piece of foam that I like to use because it's really firm. It might be a little bit too firm for some. So a rolled mat or even a rolled towel will work well as well. And where we're going to place this is right, the edge of it's going to be right at the middle of the spine. So on women, it's right where that bra strap is. Okay, so it's like this. It's right opposite the bottom of the breastbone. So whether you're using a rolled mat or a rolled towel or even a pool noodle, or you have one of these spinal strips, then lie on back. And if you'd like a spinal strip, we've got them. They're in our store. They're awesome. And there's lots you can do with them that I can show you how to work with it. So there, you just place your hands, or your head on the strip. Hands are just resting gently on your wrist. So you can see I'm in a bit of a back bend here. My pelvis is lower than my head, right? And you might find when you're on this, you might get a little bit, whether it's on a rolled mat or this or a rolled towel, is you might feel a little bit of strain in through your, where like in that middle part of your spine where the spinal strip is, or you might even feel something funky down at your lower back. If that's the case, just raise your hips a bit. Put a blanket underneath or put a small block underneath. And the shortening of that line, so you're not in as much of a back bend, can also often be helpful. If it doesn't change it, then I would come out of the position. It just might not be what you need right now. And then we're going to come into some arm movements while we're on here. So you can join us. If you're not on the prop, then you can join us with the arm movements in just a moment. All right, so now from here, we're going to take the strap and holding the strap in the hands, and the hands are up towards the sky. And so we're going to reach the arms up to the sky and then bring them down. Now, sometimes what can happen when there's wrist and elbow issues, what can sometimes happen is those blades can be super sticky. So then what might happen is your chin might lead the way, or your neck or your rib cage might want to lift up. So can you make it just about the arm bones and the blades? And then keep those quiet and bring the arms over your head. Now the movement, the furthest you'll go is alongside your ears. But I want you to pay attention because it's really easy to overdo this and push past the whispers and the yellow lights. So can you move only in the range where you're not wobbly and wiggly, that there's no clunking or clicking, and there's no pain or strain? Particularly if you're feeling something in your elbow or your wrist or your shoulders or your neck or your jaw. So find the range. So maybe your range is only here. The key is not to argue with reality. Reality is reality. Notice what that is, work within what it is, and what you'll start to notice is reality changes. So you don't have to force reality to change. Just work with what it is. Okay, great. All right, so now bring the spinal strip down, okay, or the whatever prop you're on, and now just lie on your back and notice what it is that you feel. Yeah. Take a look at your right hand now. Index finger and thumb tip, have those touch, similar to what we did earlier. Same with the other. Okay, then you're going to bend the elbows. Imagine you've got a string between your hands and pull that string wide. Good. And then come on up and pull that wide and come on up. Good. And again. Lovely. Okay. Now from here, you've got your arm in this position. Now I want you to rotate the arm. Now what you'll see is you'll see your elbow moving toward the thigh. Pay attention to the arm bone in the socket. So even though you'll see the elbow in your hand move, notice how much movement is in your socket itself. Okay. And then just move that arm bone in the socket as far as it can comfortably go without any strain to your elbows, your wrist, your neck, your jaw. And then wherever that position is, maybe you go this far, maybe you go this far, maybe you go this far. Find that position and let's do that movement again, pulling the arms wide. So what you've done is you've just changed the position of the head of the arm bone or the head of the humerus in the socket. Good. Okay, now let your hands come down onto your belly. And now notice what it is that you feel. Is anything different, anything new? And then stretch your legs out. And we're going to go into a side bend here, supine. So the right leg, the one that's closest to you towards the camera, I'm going to slide that towards the camera. Pelvis is totally easy. And then the other leg's going to come and join it. And then your other arm, opposite arm, think about a snow angel. That's what we've got up here in the winter. And slide that up alongside toward your ear. But again, because there's some wrist or some elbow issues that might be present for you, really pay attention. You could have the range, but don't go to the whole range if there's strain and pain. if you're starting to clench and grip. Those are all whispers to let you know that you're going a little too far. And then bring the arm down, bring the legs back, and then slide the leg, I'm moving my leg away from the camera now, letting the other one join it. But again, I'm only letting that one join it as far as my pelvis stays quiet. And then I bring the other arm up. Whoops. So there might be some question about why would I be doing a side bend and working with my pelvis if there are wrist and there are shoulder elbow issues? Because it's all connected. How people stand and how people sit and stand in their pelvis has an impact on how you are further up the chain and how your shoulder girdle rests on your rib cage. That's just one relationship. Bring the arm back down and bring the legs back. All right, so now let's bring your one knee to your belly. Bring your hand over to meet it and gentle twist. Your shoulder girdle stays on the floor, both sides. So I'm moving to my right, but my left shoulder is staying totally on the floor. And then I come back up and other side, elbow, that would be my knee, comes up, hand comes across and bring that leg across. So again, you don't need to argue with reality. You can just notice what it is. If you try and push back, push past it, the chance for you to hurt yourself goes really, really high, and the chance for you not to get better gets really high. So if you want to get better quicker, then really try to meet reality where it's at, and then work with that, and then start to create a different future. All right, lovely. Okay, now resting back here. Notice your breath, notice your body. And if you want any more help, any really specific help as it relates to your wrists and your elbows and your shoulders, and this short clip provided you a little bit of insight about how you move and about how you function, and you just want a little more guidance, send me a direct message or send us an email through our website at functionalsynergy.com. I'd be happy to help you. Okay? You have a great day. Have a good rest. And we'll see you tomorrow. Namaste. Take care.